She's in meeting.
All right. While we do that, let's start with the preliminaries. Okay. So we'll start with some introductions from the organization. Some of you may have been here for other events that we have, other meetings that we have had in the past. But for those of you who are meeting us, CHELD, if you're meeting us for the very first time, let me just make a quick introduction. My name is Cheluchi Onyemelukwe, Professor Cheluchi Onyemelukwe. I'm founder, executive director of CHELD. Behind me are various members of the team who are working on the technicalities, etc., of this meeting. At CHELD, we work to promote health in Nigeria through law, education, research, and advocacy. We're established in 2010, and our mission is to promote the right to health in Nigeria and Africa through law, policy, capacity building, research, and advocacy. And you can see from the theme of this meeting that this is exactly what we are doing. Our vision is a world where universal and inclusive access to health services and the right to health of individuals and communities are fully recognized and achieved. Please give me a minute. My apologies for that interruption. My apologies again for that interruption. So I was talking about who we are, and I said our vision as CHELD is a world where universal and inclusive access to health services and the right to health of individuals and communities are fully recognized and achieved. And we do this through various programs and work streams. One of our work streams is migration. Faith, can you please move to the next slide? Thank you. Is migration and health. And many of you who know us, because in the last year we did we worked with the African Union on migration and health, looking at the health of migrants in Africa, internally displaced persons, etc. We had engagements with policymakers and CSOs and regular people like yourselves throughout the course of last year. So some of you may have met us in that, from that perspective. We also work, for example, in the area of mental health and psychosocial support, where we have led, for example, advocacy for the enactment of the National Mental Health Act, which I was privileged to lead on alongside other very important people like Professor Bindo, who is in the room, as well as the implementation of that act. And also we do extensive work, for example, in the area of decriminalization of attempted suicide. We work in gender. We do a lot of gender-based violence work. I've seen some of the people that we've worked with in the room. We work on NCDs. We work on climate change and health. We work on health and disability. And we work on maternal health and reproductive justice. It is under our maternal and reproductive justice stream that we are having this conversation today. Under our maternal health and reproductive justice stream, we basically advocate for the right to life and health of every woman, who is given birth. We work in respect of the rights of surrogates and others who are involved in that space. And we work to ensure that government programming is inclusive and basically responds to the needs of Nigerian women and girls. So it is under that stream that we're having this conversation today, looking at the a very important, very contemporary issue, the issue of reproductive health, but also the issue of surrogacy, because I think that that is even in some ways broader than reproductive health. As we may know, we have several bills under consideration, which will, in essence, shape how surrogacy as a practice is undertaken in this country. And so our conversations today are basically to get a sense, to understand the bills in place, to understand from the perspective of the legislators what they are thinking, but also to make contributions to that conversation. Again, give me a minute. Okay, so we have two bills in the House, and we have, reached out to the sponsors of these bills to tell us about these bills. But we've also reached out to people with lived experience on different sides of this conversation. So we have surrogates, but we also have intending parents or parents who have gone through this process and who are going to present us with some of their own perspectives from their experiences, so that our laws, or the law that we hope will emanate from this, will be one that responds to our realities, will be one that is protective of the different parties that are involved, will be one that responds to our own context. I'm going to maybe make a short presentation very shortly on surrogacy, some of the issues that arise, and then I'm going to open up the floor to discuss with our panelists. Thank you very much. Faith? Okay, thank you. Let me continue to welcome those of you that are joining us. We have quite a crowd, almost 200 people at this point. We thank you. So this is just a 5-minute talk, and then I am going to yield the floor to those that we are really hoping will do this talk. So I just wanted to point out in a very brief presentation the way in which surrogacy has been regulated in other jurisdictions. And in doing so, I am going to identify some of the key legal issues that we must think about and which will continue to be part will form part of the conversations that we're going to have this afternoon. 1 second, please. Okay, so I think that many people have a sense of what surrogacy is. We've been having conversations all over social media about around this for various reasons, which I will get into now. But bottom line, we know that surrogacy is an arrangement where somebody, where a woman agrees to carry and bear a child on behalf of parents who, for different reasons, may not be able to. We talk about intended parents and so on. We have different terms, and I am not going to, I'm a professor, I teach law, I teach health law in particular, so I'm not going to go into all of that. But we know that we can have gestational surrogacy. We have traditional surrogacy where, with the gestational surrogacy, the eggs and sperm come from the intended donors and so on. The traditional surrogacy would usually be the surrogates contributing her own genetic materials through eggs and so on. And then we have a concept that we're going to discuss extensively today, commercial surrogacy, where the surrogate is compensated. They're paid a fee, they're paid something over and beyond what it takes to have the baby. So over and beyond what it takes to go to the hospital, what it takes to, the antenatal, all of that. Something to acknowledge that they have, really done labor. And I just, labor including carrying the pregnancy throughout and then birthing the child. And then altruistic, as we know, is the opposite of commercial in the sense that it is done freely. So I might have a sister, a friend who wants to support me in that process. Okay, next slide, please. Next slide. Okay, so I just wanted to point out that this conversation we're having is basically the same conversations that have happened in other jurisdictions for many years. As a matter of fact, years ago, 20 years ago, I happened to work in Health Canada, where I supported the drafting of regulations under Canada's Assisted Human Reproductive Human Reproductive Assisted Act, where basically we looked at issues of surrogacy and so on. In Canada, for example, commercial surrogacy is prohibited and you are only reimbursed. You're only reimbursed for your expenses. And part of the regulations that I was required to draw up was what were those sorts of expenses that can be reimbursed. In other words, if you go beyond that, then you are flouting the law, etc. So that was 20 years ago. In other jurisdictions in the UK, in the US, and so on, we've also had those conversations and have agreed, we have come to certain points. As we speak, many countries are also still in the process of reforming their laws. I don't want to go over my presentation I want to do it very quickly so we can get into the conversation. Can we go to the next slide, please? Next slide, please. Um, Okay, so for example, in the UK, we have the Surrogacy Arrangements Act of 1985. It prohibits commercial surrogacy, so no compensation beyond the basic reimbursements. Next slide. Okay, next slide. In Australia, no, come back. In Australia, only altruistic surrogacy is permitted. Intended parents must have a medical or social need for surrogacy. What that means is there must be a reason. You cannot say, well, I don't feel like it. I can, as some people were discussing a few weeks ago, in the same way that I engage people to work in the house or to support me in different aspects of my work, I can just engage somebody because I don't feel like having a child by myself, not because I have a medical reason to. So in Australia, they have that requirement that you have to demonstrate a medical or social need. Again, like we said, altruistic. Now, right now they are reviewing their laws and they are looking at harmonizing state laws. Very important. Remember, for us in Nigeria, we're a federation. What that means is that at different state levels, and I know that we have somebody from Lagos State, Dr. Do from Lagos State, who is going to be talking to us about Lagos State's uh, uh, um, uh, ventures towards regulating assisted reproductive technologies as well as surrogacy, etc. In Australia, they're looking at reduction of barriers to domestic surrogacy by allowing things like advertising. That advertisements can be done. Before now, you cannot advertise as a surrogacy agency or as a surrogate, and so on. Next slide, please. In the US runs a federal system just like we do, and they take their federalism extremely seriously. And so you find that, different states have come to this from different perspectives and have different laws regulating surrogacy with different provisions. Commercial surrogacy is legal in most of the US. Only 3 states prohibit it specifically: Nebraska, Louisiana, and the District of Columbia. As a matter of fact, New York and a state like Michigan also, until very recently, also prohibited commercial surrogacy, but they just opened theirs up. In fact, Michigan just did that only last year in 2024. But very interestingly, in the US, they have provisions around requiring independent legal counsel for the surrogate to make sure that both parties are playing on an equal ground. You have states who require that you must provide comprehensive health insurance for the process, etc., etc. Next slide, please. Um, some states require, just like I mentioned about Australia, that you must demonstrate demonstrate a medical reason for going through that process, etc. Others have some legal provisions around pre-birth and post-birth parentage orders. So, for example, I didn't mention that, but in the UK, for example, the surrogate is recognized under the Surrogacy Arrangements Act as the mother of the baby. For you, as the intending parent, to then get the baby, you then have to go through a certain process. Now, in some other states, they say, in the US, they say once you have entered into that agreement, the agreement is binding, such that the surrogate cannot, at the end of the pregnancy, decide to keep the baby, which can actually happen in a place like the UK. Let's move on. So parentage orders, very important. As we come down to developing countries, if you look at India, India has a strict regulatory framework which they just put in place not that long ago, just 4 years ago in 2021. Again, a total ban on commercial surrogacy, criminalization of surrogacy arrangements where surrogate is paid, compensation beyond reimbursement. Surrogacy is also available only to married couples, meaning that if you're a single person, you cannot take advantage of that, and so on and so forth. Intending parents must not have any surviving biological child. So it's very strict, very restrictive. Next slide, please. Now, coming home to Africa, we have South Africa. South Africa regulates surrogacy under its Children's Act of 2005, which came fully into force in 2010. and it allows only altruistic surrogacy arrangements. Again, effectively prohibiting commercial surrogacy. The law requires that at least one of the commissioning parents must be genetically related to the child. Next slide, please. So many other interesting things. Happy to share this presentation. Next slide. Next slide, so we can go on. And then finally, we have Rwanda. Please go back to the other slide. Rwanda's experience started with, I mean, they had a law in place actually from 2016, which just listed surrogacy as alternative ways of having babies, but no guidelines whatsoever. But with the 2020 case, basically that allowed, said, this is very much allowed within the context of Rwandan law, and the court, going on to say that the government needed to take the bull by the horns and provide regulations to make it clear what needed, what the process was and the protections available, etc. From there, we then had the legislature, just like our legislature is taking the bull by the horns, establishing the 2024 Law on Persons and Family, Article 279, which effectively now codifies surrogacy and provides, some guidelines. You have further guidelines in a bill that they're considering now in 2025. Are the slides over? Now, I think that, please go, Faith, can we move towards the end? Okay. Then we also have the Tokyo Principles on Surrogacy 2025, which was developed by the IFFS, which basically outlines some of the key things that we must think about when we're making surrogacy laws. Equity and power balance, surrogates, autonomy, health and legal rights, amongst other things. Now, I don't know if we have a slide on this, but let me just say one or two things before we conclude. One of the things that I think we must think about are what are the issues that need to be covered. From everything you hear me say, you see that commercial surrogacy is something that different jurisdictions have really thought about. One of the reasons, of course, is the fact that we don't want to become human beings that, in essence, sell other human beings, right? When we talk about things like trafficking, like slavery, etc., they're all founded on that framework that human beings are human beings and should not, ideally, be sold. And so the idea is we want to recognize that having children, that procreating is a human need, while also putting in place safeguards so that we are doing so in an ethical way. So you can see that different jurisdictions have come to this from different angles. You see that in the US, commercial surrogacy is definitely recognized. In some other jurisdictions, they're saying absolutely no. We have to look at issues like how do we ensure that surrogates are protected while they are having the babies, after they've had the babies, etc. How do we ensure that the rights of the child in question are protected? How do we manage issues like genetic materials? How do we manage issues relating to the rights of intending parents when we have gone through this process, which many people will know is a very emotional process for many people to go through. If we've gone through all of that, do we end up coming out with a situation where we are, in essence, being blackmailed or in essence being exploited as well? So there can be different ways to look at it. Now, in the context of preparing for this engagement, for this webinar, we've heard so many different stories. It's not my place to tell all of those stories, but some of us in the room, and maybe this is why there's a lot of interest in this, have heard those stories. We've heard really positive stories. We've heard, some people, celebrities, Iniedo, Chimamanda. We've recognized, in essence, that this is going on and that this can really support parents. But we've also heard, stories that may not be as palatable, where there is suggestion of, the sorts of challenges that we face with issues like baby factory. Now, much more importantly than all the things I have said in terms of our context, and maybe I should also mention that our context includes the fact that as Nigerians, we have, a high rate of maternal mortality. And so all of these things have to be taken into account. We have a high level of poverty, which means that exploitation is a high potential, etc. So when we look at all of that, and then we also have to add the fact that fertility and having children, we're a natalist world in this country where we love children. Before you have done, I was at a wedding last week. They're already praying for twins for you at the wedding, and people are already looking at you months after to see whether anything is happening. So this is the world in which we live. When we take all of that into consideration, the question is, how do we regulate this practice? It is obvious that it is here. It is obvious that it is not going anywhere. So how do we regulate? And so with that, let me open up the floor for the conversation. Like I said, our goal is to have this conversation with very important key stakeholders, particularly our legislators that are moving to ensure that we are living in a safe and regulated space, but also for others who have other experiences who can share with us, what their experiences are, so that eventually we will have laws in place that recognize who we are, recognize our situation, and provide us the relevant protections that we need. Okay, with that said, let me now welcome our panelists. I don't know if Honorable Akala is here. Are you here, sir? Okay, Honorable Akala hasn't joined us yet. We're going to go with him first. So I think I'll move then to Honorable Okonkwo. I was going to take him after. Can we please provide Honorable Ugochukwu Harris Okonkwo? Can we provide his profile? All right.
It's Uchenna, not Ugochukwu.
Uchenna. Oh, please, my sincere apologies.
Or Uche.
Honorable Uchenna Harris Okonkwo.
Yes.
Okay, a member of the Federal House of Representatives. Thank you, sir. I spoke with you a while ago and you expressed interest immediately. We were going to have this in June, and then for other reasons, we had to move it to July. And all through that process, you have been here, and I'm really, really grateful. Honorable Uchenna Harris currently serves as the federal representative representing the Idemili North, Idemili South constituency of Anambra State. He is also the executive director of Top White Ventures Limited, a multi-dimensional private conglomerate with core interest in commodity trading, real estate, and construction, and significant presence in the oil and gas subsector. He earned a double laureate in political science and philosophy from Canada's #1 university, the University of Toronto. He holds another degree in professional writing and strategic communications. He has sponsored several health-related bills in the House, demonstrating his interests in the right to health and in universal health coverage. He is the sponsor of the Women's Health and Surrogacy Protection Bill 2025. let me welcome you, sir. Please, everybody, give him a round of applause wherever you are. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Honorable Akala is now in the room. Honorable Uche, well, thank you very much. Do you mind? I am going to come back to you. There's a reason why we want to take Honorable Akala first, if you don't mind.
Fine.
I think you have a sense of where I'm going. Let me take
fine.
Honorable Akala first, and then
my
I'll move on to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Awesome to have you here. Honorable Akala, are you here with us? Can you say hello to me?
I am. Good afternoon. I was in the wrong room before. They had to elevate me to the panelist room because I've been here since the beginning.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. We're just happy that you've been able to join. Really, really happy. So Honorable Alawa Kala is the federal representative for the Ogbomoso North South Orire Federal Constituency. He holds a degree in computer science from the University of Buckingham, from Buckingham University, United Kingdom. His leadership qualities and dedication to public service were proven as the executive chairman of Ogbomoso North Local Government, showing his dedication from grassroots up. Honorable Akala's membership in various House committees further exemplifies his commitment to national development. He is a paragon of progressive leadership and dedicated to uplifting his community and shaping a brighter future for this country. He is the sponsor of the Surrogacy Bill 2024. Thank you. Thank you very much for being here. Okay, can we please spotlight Honorable Akala?
The pleasure is all mine.
Thank you. Are you in a place where you can turn on your video or not?
I can.
Okay. All right.
Okay, fine. So.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So good to see your face, sir. Awesome. All right. So last year, thank you. Last year, we had so many conversations at Cheld about your bill, and because that was the first bill that came up, and we were just excited at the fact that we have interest at the legislative level on this issue. Can you tell us a little bit about your bill for the benefit of the people in the room who may, I'm sure most haven't read the bill anyway. Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead,
okay. Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. And I greet everybody. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I said my name is Olami Juwonlo Ayodeji Alawakala. I represent people from Ogbomoso North, Ogbomoso South, and River Constituency. From Oyo State. Talking about this bill, the bill is something personal to me. I won't say I'm an expert in health or even in surrogacy or anything. I'm not an expert. So at the end of the day, we'll still have to leave the room for the experts. But why I say it's personal to me, because my wife and I, we were on the fertility journey for 8 years before God finally answered our prayers. And when he answered our prayers were answered through surrogacy. Because we tried every other route. We tried the IVF route, we tried every other thing, and by the grace of God, we ended up with the surrogacy. And now we have our twins, which are 3 years old. We did their birthday on Sunday. They were 3 on Sunday. So we give God glory to that. So that's why I said it's personal for me. So during that period, I realized that this is an avenue where, because I know that Nigerians, we are extreme capitalists. We like to take advantage of every little thing that comes our way. So since then, immediately after our surrogacy, when we had our child and everything, I added in my mind since then that we have to have a way to regulate these things. Because throughout our journey, we never met the lady, the surrogate that carried our twins. We never met her once. We never saw her. We never spoke to her. So I was like, okay, we don't even know who the person. We don't know anything. We don't know if all the monies we're paying is getting to her. We don't know if they're taking care of her. Although we trust our doctor, because she's more like family to us, so we trust her. So we know that, okay, yeah, she's doing the right thing. But if she's doing the right thing, will other people do the right thing? Would other people want to do the right thing, even if she's doing the right thing. And I know Nigerians were extreme capitalists. So since then, I had a passion for it. I said, okay, we need to regulate this. So when the second thing that made me now more to regulate it was when my wife is British. I'm Nigerian. My wife is British. So when we now took them to the UK, she was not recognized as the mother because of the British law that there is. So we now had to go through the courts so that they can recognize her as the mother of the children, so that we can get their passport and everything. So we did that. We had to go through the court system. And then we're like, okay, if there are frameworks in other countries to set this up, we need to do such thing now in Nigeria too, so that people will not be taken advantage of. Because we love to take advantage of people in Nigeria. Like I've been saying, we're extreme capitalists, loving to take advantage of people. I'm like, how can we stop this? How can we curb this? So immediately when I started this bill, I reached out to, that time I didn't know much. Like I said, I'm not an expert in this. So I tried to reach out to, on Instagram, I saw these people meet surrogate mothers, meet surrogate mothers, something like that. I sent them a message, although they didn't reply and they've not replied to now, before I finally got in touch with the health law that got in touch with me and started working together on this bill. I see this bill as a bill to help young people going through a lot of fertility issues, because a lot of fertility issues out there that we cannot speak out as Blacks, as Nigerians, as Africans, because we see it as we see the stigmatism to it. Like when she said, when she was speaking, that immediately you marry today, the next day, the idea is like maybe the next day she just give birth immediately. That's how we see it in Africa here, in Nigeria here. And so we need to protect these people and ensure that this fertility journey of everybody is unique, and everybody is given the opportunity. Because having a child, I can tell you that since I've had my twins, it's been miraculous. I cannot just say anything other than that. So I want other person to have that same feeling. And if you cannot do it through the conventional means, there should be other means where you can do it, but you should not be exploited in doing it. You should not be exploited, and you should not be taken advantage of in doing it. Hence, my coming together of this bill and ensuring that, okay, what can we do? What can I do? How can I pay my own? How can I pay back? What little thing can I do? Because like I said earlier on, I'm not an expert in health issues. I'm not an expert in surrogacy issues. This bill was brought together by me, my SLA, and help from the surrogacy law. I had an help from surrogacy law, the bar, Nigerian health law bar. I had help from them too. So this was brought together by us. So I'm just here to ensure that this bill passes through and ensure that Nigerians are safe with this bill. But the intricacy of this bill, like now, I learned more from your opening statement when you're talking about different countries and their bills and how they work, the commercial and the autistic. I learned more again and said, okay, how can we work together? Like also, if you see the bill my brother has, Honorable Uche, the bill he has and my bill, I've compared both together and I said, okay, we have a lot of common things there together that we can now see how we can now merge the bill, or how we'll be able to just ensure that this bill sees the light of the day. Because I will not lie to you, I've received plenty of messages on this bill to kill this bill.
Yeah.
And I know Honorable Uche would have received it too.
Yeah.
I have received plenty messages that this is unethical, this is rubbish, we don't do this in our country. And these are from learned people, these are from associations. Yes, sir. I've received that this bill will not pass through. Yeah, Honorable Akala, I don't know what you are doing. But I'm making you understand that only they knew my story, they will not come to me with such talks. Because if you know my story and where I'm coming from, you know that I'm not just supporting this out of class. I'm supporting this because it has to be supported. That people out there genuinely going through fertility issues. Genuinely, I told you, 8 years, my wife and I, 8 good years with multiple miscarriages, over 10 IVFs. And you know, this is emotional, especially on the woman, because she has to keep on looking herself with hormones, different hormones. Today she's happy, tomorrow she's sad, tomorrow she can't even explain what she's going through because of the hormones she's going through every day. Just, going through the needles and everything. So people are genuinely going through this. I'm not talking about people that want to just, because I want to keep my body shape, I cannot carry pregnancy, I'll go and give it to somebody else. No, I'm not talking about people who are genuinely going through fertility issues. And we really need to really sit down, deliberate this bill, bring out this bill and ensure that this bill is in the best interest of Nigerians and of these people going through this fertility issue. So like I said, I'm not an expert on this.
Thank you, sir.
I'm just a vehicle
Yes.
that will help in driving it. You understand? So thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you so much. God bless you. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you. We are thanking you. I don't know if you can see the chat, and I don't know if you can see how many people are thanking you for using your personal experience to do something important for this country. So thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for sharing that. I know that we have your wife in the room, and I know that she's going to speak even more personally to that experience. But thank you for sharing that. I'm going to, before I move on to Honorable Uche Okonkwo, I'm going to ask if you can share with us maybe a couple of provisions, important key provisions in that bill, just for the benefit of those who may not have seen the bill. But let me just quickly say that the bill, you can find the bill online. Yeah, I don't know if it has changed from the version that we have, but you can have it. Yes. All right, sir. Okay, please go ahead.
Okay. The major features of the bill is that the bill seeks to create a commission. There's the Nigerian Surrogacy Regulatory Commission, NSRC, to oversee all surrogacy matters. And also, the bill seeks to include the Registrar General for the sector and also specific representatives, sector representatives, to ensure that everything goes on as planned. Then the agency also must maintain a private registry of involved parties, ensuring that all parties are being taken care of. Then also, the bill prohibits any form of payments or benefits, even expense reimbursement. Like I said, when I was reading, when you were making your submission, I saw some things that the bill can also change. I'm not an expert. So also, the bill seeks for penalties for offenders, fine of 1 million or up to 5 years imprisonment. The bill seeks majorly the bill seeks seeks to emphasize on agency registration and notarization of agreement. Just majorly seeks for compensation of the both parties, the surrogate and the intending parents. That's what it seeks majorly. Then it also aims at to regulate surrogacy arrangement through clear legal frameworks. And the bill also prohibits commercial surrogacy to prevent exploitation and commodification. The bill also supports altruistic surrogacy based on voluntarism and good faith. The bill also talks about surrogate must be 21 years and above. The bill also seeks to emphasize obtaining consent form from all parties before entering into surrogacy. The bill also seeks to counseling is mandated for surrogates and intended parents to counsel both of them so they understand what they are going through. And finally, penalties and violations. This bill also seeks for fines and jail terms. That's just basically the rest can be seen online, like she said, both on my website and their website, and also online. So that's just basically what the bill seeks, just a framework, just to guide the intending parents and the surrogates.
Thank you very much, sir. That's really helpful. Very quick, short, and concise summary of the bill. For those, hopefully we can, I see a lot of lawyers in the room, people from the MBA, etc., as well as healthcare practitioners, amongst others in the room. Please feel free to check that bill online. It's very simple. It's actually relatively short compared to other bills that we have worked on, for example, and it's easily digestible. So thank you very much. It establishes a commission. It prohibits commercial surrogacy and provides some punishments for that, as well as recognizing the surrogacy arrangements and agreements, and even giving some insight into what the commission can do in terms of regulating the practice of surrogacy. So thank you very much, sir. I'm going to come back with more questions for you. I just wanted you to give that background, being the first to institute that bill. And then I want to talk to Honorable Okonkwo now. Thank you very much, Honorable
Thank you so much.
Uchenna Konkwo, for your patience. I know you've been here, from the very beginning. Let me also say before we go on, can we put this in slide mode? Thank you. Let me also say to Honorable Akala, we are experts in this area. This is what I do. So we're very happy to support you. But one of the things that we are also hoping to see, and I'm already seeing some evidence of that in the chat, is to just provide you insights from just regular everyday people. Okay, thank you very much, Honorable Okonkwo. I wanted to, I'd already read your profile before, but I wanted to say that you responded so optimistically, so enthusiastically to our call, and I'm really, really grateful. You are the sponsor of the Women's Health. Thank you, sir. You are the sponsor of the Women's Health and Surrogacy Protection Bill. And I'm going to tell you right up front that some of the things that we discussed in our conference room that we argued amongst ourselves might be missing from Honorable Akala's bill were sort of then responded to by your bill. So it's almost like, there was some kind of synergistic relationship between the two of you. So I'm happy that Honorable Akala mentioned your bill, that he's read your bill, and my hope, and one of the things that we're hoping will come out of this is that the two of you will work together to then, synergize and come up with something really, really robust. Well, please go ahead and tell us about, your experience in this area, the reason why you have engaged in this, and maybe talk to us about key provisions from the bill. Please, you can we spotlight? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Cheluchi. Thank you for inviting me to this webinar. I was quite excited when I heard it was happening, and I'm very grateful for the honor bestowed upon me to be here. Let me recognize the presence of my brother, Honorable Alamiju Alawakala, my colleague and my friend. I also, well, first of all, my name is Honorable Uchenna Harris Okonkwo. I represent the people of Idemili North and South Federal Constituency. I am from Anambra State. One of my key reasons for going into seeking out how to establish this bill was about a year ago. Within Anambra State, there was a news of a baby factory that was busted in Anambra State. It was posing as a mother and child hospital and maternity clinic around Umunya in Oyi local government. It's not my local government, but it is a case to do with the state. And for me, I felt that the negative news that it attracted, it triggered me having to go around and say, okay, there's a problem here, that these baby factories may not just be in Anambra alone. And it led to further investigation and saw that, okay, that there are actually a few other states that had similar issues.
3 minutes.
Okay. That had similar issues. So because of that, I decided to reach out to a good friend of mine who also acts as my consultant, Mr. Abel Okechukwu. And we sat down and, decided to come up with something that can be able to, one, have a protection for the women's health and the well-being, two, proper regulation for surrogacy, and three, the promotion of altruistic surrogacy, for the protection of surrogate mothers' rights, and then last but not least, the prevention of the exploitation of surrogacy. So with that, we decide to, narrow in on the specifics that, would help create a prohibition on surrogacy, but also give an avenue for those that require such services to be protected and not be labeled as part of promoting baby factories or being those that are carrying um, babies. Just like my brother said, there are some people, especially in our part of the world, that may still consider that as some sort of abomination or so. But really, it should be something whereby people that wish to share in the joy being being a mother or having a child. I think it shouldn't be withheld. It shouldn't be prevented from everybody that has interest in doing that. I myself, of course, I'm a father, and I know the experiences of parenthood. So it's something that joy should be shared by all. So with that, we decide to focus on this section of creating this bill in order for us to focus on protecting the well-being of women, especially in relation to surrogacy, which led again from the discovery of the numerous baby factories that may be happening, even some of them that I don't know. Again, I will also say I am not fully a professional in this aspect, but for me, I think the need to be able to have a more saner environment in which we reside in. I think that is a cause for me to be able to full on go into seeing how we can be able to create this bill and push it so we can be able to see the light of day. I also went through my brother's bill, Honorable Akala's bill, which of course creates a commission, which is an institution that can help with the regulation because as it is, there is nothing of that sort in place. So we're also going to see how we can be able to merge things together so we make sure that such commission can exist, and then it will further lead to us being able to regulate better and having a more hands-on approach to this matter, because as it is, it may just fall within the Ministry of Health, but they may not have the necessary eyes that are really looking into it. So if we have a commission that can be able to, say this firsthand response on this issue, it would be good, and it would be better for our nation. I also want to touch on the presentation by Professor Cheluchi, which also shows that in certain countries that yes, there's legality to surrogacy, like in the US, and in some certain countries, there are prohibitions to surrogacy as well, like that in India and some other places. So when we were looking at this, we also looked at it within our country. We looked at it within Nigeria to say, okay, what will be acceptable, for Nigerians, especially given our climate. So some of the points that are embedded within the bill are actually those that were carved out, for the benefit of the area in which we reside in, which is Nigeria. So that's really the background of how we decide to come up with this bill.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so very much, sir, for not just giving us the provisions of the bill, but the reason why you engaged in developing this bill. Like you rightly noted, issues of baby factory and all of that are issues that we have struggled with in different parts of the country, across the country, actually. And one of the things that I really have enjoyed in reviewing the bill is the deliberate, the intentional uh, 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 development of provisions to address just a broad spectrum of things that may apply to surrogates, really, because we live in a country, like I said, where, and like you have also noted, where we have high rates of poverty and so on, and there's this potential for exploitation. So I believe that, and then you have gone on to tell us that you are going to work together and see how you can merge. So I feel like given we can stop we can stop here. We're already in very, very safe hands, but let's but let's go on. Thank you so very much. I am going, because of time, let me just quickly go on to the next panelist, and so that we'll have time so I can come back to all the panelists again. I am going to go now to a surrogate. I don't know if she's here. I wanted her to share her experience. In our experience at Child, we've seen a lot of, not a lot, but a number of people who are, who have used surrogacy to have their children. And, more and more we're beginning to talk about it. I mean, maybe the latest is Chimamanda and all of that. And we've had other people, Nancy May, Iniedo, but we've barely heard anything from surrogates themselves. And so we went out of our way to see if we could get somebody. She's going to be speaking anonymously today, but she shared a little bit about her story with us, and we hope that she can share with you, share with us all. The idea, like I said, is with all of these experiences from intending parents, from surrogates, from regular people, from regulators and legislators, we're going to come up with something that really, really works well for our country and our people. Please, if we can unmute the surrogate. Okay.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. We can hear you.
Okay.
Okay. Welcome. Thank you very much for being here this afternoon. What I really want to ask is for you to share your experience. How did you become a surrogate? What was your experience? Eventually, I'm going to come back and ask for you maybe to share from your perspective what we could be doing to better protect surrogates. But for the time being, could you just tell us a little bit about how you decided to engage in this process and what it was like for you? Thank you.
Okay. When I decided to become a surrogate, that was 2022. The real reason, or I had two reasons. So I had made up my mind to be a surrogate 3 times in my lifetime, because for my family, we don't have issues with conception, at least from my mother's side, and even my father's side. So I thought, since I personally, I don't want most children, I would help families who wanted to be families, who wanted children. So I thought about it. I left the state I was living in. I moved to a different state because, like the stigmatization attached to almost everything in Nigeria. So when I when I moved, I went to a hospital. I indicated my interest, and I was done some tests, and so on and so forth. Okay, I mentioned the first reason. My second reason also was that I wanted to go back to school. I wanted to further my education, and I do not have the means to do that. So I told myself, okay, I would do this, I would gather the money, I would use part of that money to improve my son's education, and I will use the balance to myself back to school. So with that thought, I had moved from the state I was living in to a new state, and then I'd moved from the state I was living in to a
We're
new state.
struggling a bit with hearing you. I don't know if you can adjust your microphone or whatever device you're using. We're struggling a little bit.
Is it clearer now?
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Is it clearer now?
It's wonderful. Thank you. It's perfect.
Okay.
Go ahead. We missed a lot of what you said. Thank you.
Okay.
But please go on from where you were. Thanks.
Okay, so I moved from the state I was to a different state and followed through. Now I went to the clinic. I indicated my interest. The clinic then gave me they did some tests, and after that they gave me a document that showed that I was indicating to be a surrogate. Now, after that test, they told me to come back and after my period and so on and so forth. Now, when I went back there, they did more tests and they said I was good enough, to go through the process of surrogacy. So we started the medications, we started the injections, we started all those processes medically, for medical reasons. They ran the test to see if I was a good candidate with the intending parent, and all through this, I did not meet the intending parents. When I asked questions of why I cannot be the intending parents, I was told that, how these people can be, they made it. Initially, I thought it was a good idea, They made it look like if they allow me know the intending parents might not follow through with the agreements. So I asked questions, those that knew me, they were like, I asked too much questions, but I asked a lot of questions because the goal for me becoming a surrogate was to help a family. And I did not know this family that I was helping. I knew it was not my genetic, it was not my egg, it wasn't mine, but I was in a way, I was an incubator. But I needed to know who I was helping to do this. But I was not allowed. I mean, we had already gone far at that point. So I was like, okay. Then one of them told me, now, I didn't even meet the doctor. Who I met mostly at that point were the clinic staffs, the other doctors, but I never met the owner of that owner of the hospital or clinic. So all I met were all those people they would send who were just in charge of this, in charge of that. So we went through the process, and I got through the transfer. It was successful. I got pregnant, and then we carried on. Now, while going through these processes, I had signed an agreement, but things kept changing. This is what we are going to be paying you every month. This is when we'll be paying you every month for your feeding allowance, for your transportation, for this or for that. But things just kept changing. And when you try to say anything, they will threaten you. They threaten you. They just make stuff. Now, they won't say that it's not, if you think about it, it doesn't sound like a threat. But it was almost like we are doing you a favor. You should behave yourself. That's how it sounded to me. Processes will change. Agreements will change. Okay, please, when am I getting my feeding allowances? Don't worry, it is this amount. Then you will get this other amount. Now, some of them, surrogates who got to carry multiple, who were later found at the scan date that they were carrying more than one, they have an agreement that had signed, that had no indication as to how much would be the feeding allowance when it is multiple. Then because you have an agreement that has been signed, there's a compensation. That is the only clear path. But when it came to the feeding allowance, other little allowances, there was no clear path. There was no clear agreement. And so when they tried to ask, how can my feeding allowance increase? They would tell you, is it not the same stomach that you are carrying, that you carry one, that you carry two? Why would you increase the feeding allowance? There's no way to meet the parent. There's no way to connect with the parent. The parent does not even know the process, does not even know what you're going through, does not even know how you're going, which is, I feel like it was very intentional. because what they will tell the parents will be different from what they will tell the surrogates, so as not to make the parents know what's really happening. So going through all that, we successfully, I was carrying just one child, and I didn't have all that conversation with them. But the only thing I was just having at that point was how the amount would change from this amount to the next amount, and then you tell them, why is it this way? Tell you, that's what the parents give us. So the parent, and then they will tell you, we are not even, the parents don't even call, they don't call. We are even using our own personal money. So there were so many things that just kept going wrong. And I did some research. Now, this is not supposed to be like this. Okay, another part was, most times, when the surrogate has complained, this is how I'm feeling, I don't think this is okay, they will tell you, go and buy medicine, go and buy medication, later we'll reimburse you. Now, instead of to tell the surrogate, come to the clinic, let's check what's going on with you. They'll tell you, go and buy this so medication, and they're supposed to be the ones. They are supposed to be the ones to actually, okay, come in. It was as if they did not want to spend so much energy, time, effort, or money. Meanwhile, the parents would have been the one that would have sat down and probably given some parts of these explanations and how they, pitch it to the parents on how nice they would treat the surrogates and the child in the womb. Now, I don't think there's any parent who would be comfortable staying at home, not really knowing how their child is doing. I cannot do that. It's impossible for a parent to just, this is a child that, yes, might not be in your stomach, but this is a surrogate, this is your child, But then make sure the parents cannot come in contact with the surrogate at all, to avoid cross conversation that they will now realize that this is not what they told me now. This is not what they told me. Now, I did get to find out that some parents who did connect to their surrogate, however, maybe they met in nurse, paid some money and got to know their surrogate. Some of them did try to assist. Some of them also did try to exploit. So it was a whole. I just wanted it to be over at that point, When you start feeling as if you are doing something that you are not appreciated. I just wanted it to be over. So, well, that's just the little experiences I had for that particular surrogacy.
Okay, I'm going to just ask one question and I'll let you go. But thank you so very much for sharing that. I can see in the chat people really, it's eye-opening what you're sharing with us. I'm just wondering, how did the birthing go? So you had the baby and just handed the baby over to the facility. How did that go? If you don't mind
The day
sharing
of
that
the
with us, and
delivery,
then thank you.
we went to the hospital. And I was given a document to sign, and that document, from reading the documents, I was giving full consent, like I was giving full parental rights to the intending parents. And after that, after the listing was signed, the baby was taken out. I was told, I stayed in the hospital for like 4 days, and I was told, go home. When you have issues, if you feel anyhow, come back, let us check you. You initially, the agreement was that I have 3 months hospital care, so I can always come back if I have one reason or the other to come back. I can come to change, because it was through a C-section. So I was told to come back when, for the regular checkup, which I feel like that's normal. Even if you were not a surrogate, like a normal parent, you do need to come back. They check you, I'm sure you're fine. But when I did go back, I was just treated as if, what am I coming to do here? Like, what, it was disgusting. It was a terrible experience. That part, apart from every other one, was very, very annoying, because I had a slight infection in my C-section sites, and they started blaming me. What did you do? What did you put? I've never had C-section before. I would not know what to do. It could be my mistake, but
Please, I hope
can
not.
this be
Go ahead,
sorted?
please.
Can this be sorted out? And the doctor was treating me now. The experience I had when I was going through antenatal and this and that was so different. It was suddenly as if I was no longer their burden. Now, instead of to give me medication, they wrote prescription and gave to me to go and buy. I was supposed to be given a 3-month care, and I was supposed to be given antibiotics, medication throughout that 3 months. But immediately that child was taken and I left the hospital, I went back to get medication and so on, and they wrote me a prescription to go and buy it outside. That was horrible, and nobody called me. And the funny thing is, nobody called from the hospital to say, how are you doing? How are you feeling?
Please, can we mute? Okay, please, sorry about the interruption. Thank you very much for sharing that with us. Are you still with us?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I have one more question and then I'll let you go. I don't know if you can see the chat, but obviously this is why we're having this conversation. So thank you so very much for just really sharing what must be very, very emotional, what must be very emotional for you with us this afternoon. How much were you paid for doing this?
The initial agreement was supposed to be 1.8 million, but I got 1.6 million.
Okay. Why did you get less than the 1.8 that was initially agreed?
They claimed that I was paying 10% for something, and something till today I still don't even know what the something was. They told me that I had an agent. Now, I did not have an agent, like I said from the beginning. I took myself to the clinic and registered my interest, because I am a person, like, I do not like going through anybody. If I am going to meet the agency, I like to go on my own, not through somebody. I like to know everything. But they decided that and there was an agreement that they would pay for the C-section court. I had to fight for that one. I had to get angry for that one. That was supposed to be 200,000. They gave me 100,000.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Was this a private facility? Was it, like a fertility clinic, or what was it any particular kind of clinic? Do you know? Can you tell us
Yes,
rather?
it was a fertility clinic. It is rather a fertility clinic. Where I had my first surrogacy year.
Okay. Really grateful. Thank you so very much for sharing that with us. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing that with us. Okay, I'm going to take a deep breath there, and then bring on somebody else. I'm just trying, because I know we can spend the whole day discussing this to manage our time. But in a sense, this is really why we're having this conversation. When we put this out, like I mentioned on one of the posts where I put out that when I was inviting people reached out to me from different places, including outside the country, to give me, different interesting perspectives. Somebody called me from outside the country and said, I wanted to have a baby. I'm a bit, I was thinking of doing IVF, but somebody said, why do you want to do IVF when you can just have a surrogate have this baby for you? Which I thought was very, like, it's all about that commodification thing, just it shouldn't be. You hear somebody else say, we went through all of this process. We went through how many years of infertility, went through IVF, went through this. And then somebody else is saying to you, don't bother, come to Abuja, we can do it for 11 million naira. So if I hear 11 million naira and then I hear 1.8 million, I want us to kind of, put 2 and 2 together. So I can understand, and I'm sure that some of us are already thinking, this is where the legislators are coming from when they say we don't want commercial surrogacy. But there are pros and cons to that, as we know. So let's continue. I thought I should just kind of let us decompress a little bit, if there's any such thing, before we proceed. I'm going to call now on Dr. Ajayi. Dr. Ajayi, are you still with us? You were the very first panelist here. You came like we requested 10 minutes before time, and you've been here. Thank you very, very much for being here. Faith, that's not the, can we have the right, thank you very much. Okay. All right. We're going in a particular order, so please, panelists, please hang on with me. I'm sure you're seeing the trend of thoughts here, so please hang in there. We'll get to you shortly. Dr. Ajayi, like I mentioned, thank you so very much, sir. I know how busy you are. You made time, you said yes to this. You were one of the first to say yes to this, and you were here, like I said, 10 minutes before time. So thank you very much. Dr. Ajayi is a consultant gynecologist and the founder of Nordica Fertility Clinic. Dr. Ajayi is the founder of Eastcare Nigeria Limited, an investment company focused on the healthcare sector in Nigeria and West Africa. He is also the founder of Nordica Fertility Center, a facility which provides advanced assisted reproductive services. His innovative and entrepreneurial spirit has made him champion multiple medical solutions in Nigeria's health sector. I know because I'm part of one of his schemes to mentor young brains and to retain talent, healthcare talent in this country. One of such is the Fibroid Care Center, a specialist center focused on non-invasive and minimally invasive treatment of benign gynecological conditions. Dr. Ajayi's visionary leadership has driven him into various social investments and brand establishments, all in a bid to positively impact the health industry in Nigeria and beyond. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Ajayi. Thank you very much, sir. I don't know if you can turn on your camera, even if briefly.
Yeah, my camera is on. Yeah, thank you. I'm so glad that I'm part of this discussion, and thank you for organizing this and putting this together. And I must thank the honorables also, particularly Honorable Alawakala, that from his own experience was able to, is trying to birth something to make Nigeria and Nigerians better. Yes, the discussion also, I listened to the surrogate. The discussion when we talk about surrogacy, it's always emotive because it deals with two major things, consent and exploitation. And this come in different parts. But what I would just say is that because, okay, let's say I think we drafted our own first surrogacy agreement maybe about 18 years ago. And I can tell you for free that all people who go through surrogacy in our clinic have to go through the consent, and as much as possible, we try to protect all the parties involved. Because sometimes we look at only the surrogates as the ones that can be exploited, but sometimes the intending couples also can be exploited. And there are many stories about this. I mean, I've heard so many, I've seen some also, but, and that's why it's so important that we're trying to be able to regulate this. But I just want us all to know that if we're going to do justice to this, we must also have doctors, the practitioners involved in drafting any law. I mean, this has been done in other countries, and it's always a sham when you exclude the people who are practicing this, who are seeing this on a daily basis. That's why I was happy when I heard the two honorables saying that we are no experts in this, we are no experts in this. And therefore, you must involve the experts to be able to, because I read the two drafts, okay, and there's some things that I think we might need to add to it. Fortunately, Dr. Abiola is is also here, and because I know Lagos State with AFRH, which is the association that is for fertility doctors in Nigeria. It's a voluntary association. Anyway, we've been working on regulating not only surrogacy, but assisted reproduction itself. But of course, we know how emotionally laden surrogacy is, and the fact that sometimes this is also mistaken for baby factory. But they're two different things entirely. And that's one of the things, the knowledge that people need to know, that this is, baby factory is different from when you do surrogacy. Surrogacy is a known and established form of assisted reproductive technology, and that is done all over the world. And we heard from the prof when she was giving her opening speech what has happened in other parts of the world. And I think we should be able to borrow from. There's no point in us trying to make the same mistake again that was made in the 80s and the 90s and in some other countries. And that's why I think this kind of discourse is very, very, very important. And I try to just, because I'm unbiased umpire, I'm a player in the field, and I've heard so many things, I've seen so many things, and there's some things that I'll just wait and hear what other people are going to say in order for me to be able to contribute. But one thing I want to sound the note is that especially doctors who try to, as much as possible, to be ethical, must be involved in drafting anything that is going to affect their practice. I'm sure maybe that's why some people, because until I heard Senator Akala and myself, I was asking myself, what is this bill about? Because there's still some things that can be added to it, of course, like any bill. Even the Indian experience that you spoke about, when it first started, was so strict that in 2021, but they've done some modification to it now. For example, you could not use donor eggs or donor sperm when they first started in 2021, but I think it was 2024, they amended it again that you could use donor sperm. So there's so many questions that surrogacy actually bring forth but I understand perfectly we're trying to protect all the parties involved, but don't let us forget one party when we're talking about protecting all these parties, because sometimes we only focus there. At least the baby also should not be forgotten, or the product from this should not be forgotten. The intending couple should not be forgotten. The surrogate should not be forgotten. And therefore, these are all the things that we have to take care of in drafting any regulation for this. I think at this point, I stop now, and then later on, I might be able to add one or two other things. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, sir. You have, in essence, emphasized some of what we were trying to do here, which is ensure that we have the different players, as many of the different players. We're missing one, but it wasn't for want of trying. We were looking for a surrogacy agency to join us, but we did everything, and that didn't work out. But we'll continue to push. But like you said, very important to ensure that different players are part of this process. You can hear from the legislators, Honorable Okoko, Honorable Akala, they're open. They want inputs, they want insights, and I'm sure there will be the opportunity of public hearing as well. But even before the public hearing, they can begin to hear some of these things, and that's the point of this. And like you have also mentioned, in listening to all of what to some of the things that, some of the comments that I got, observations that I got from people as we were advertising this, there's potential for exploitation in different ways. So, and even for intending parents. And from what we've heard, intending parents sometimes are not even aware of what is going on the other side. And of course, they are also, having gone through, infertility for 20 years. They're saying, like, can I, you know, I hope nobody just takes this baby and does not pass on the baby. So thank you very much for sharing all of those insights. I have some questions for you around the role of fertility clinics, but let me just go around the room because of time. I hope that I can come back to some of those questions. And in fact, if you can see the chat, you might be able to see one or two of those sorts of questions. But thank you very much, sir, for that input. I'm going to now go to Dr. Ido, whom you've rightly mentioned, Dr. Abiola Ido, who is, can we have a profile up, please? Thank you. Who is the CEO of Hefama. And I know that most of the healthcare practitioners in the room will know Hefama, particularly those in Lagos State. She is Dr. Abiola Idowu is the permanent secretary of Hefama. She is a passionate advocate for patient safety, a public health physician, and an experienced administrator. She currently serves as the permanent secretary of the Health Facilities Monitoring and Accreditation Agency, Hefama, where she leads the agency's mission to regulate and accredit public and private health facilities in Lagos State. Under her leadership, Hefama has strengthened its enforcement mechanisms, improved transparency, and adopted digital solutions to streamline monitoring activities and enhance service delivery. Dr. Idowu holds a medical degree and postgraduate qualifications in public health management. Her career encompasses both the public and private sectors. Welcome to Dr. Abiola Idowu. I don't know if you're in a place to show us your beautiful face, Ma. Are you here?
Yes, I am here. Good afternoon.
Okay.
Thank you for inviting me. I've been on the conversation since 2.
However, thank you so very much, Ma. Thank you. Thank you.
I think I'm going to have to put off the camera so that the audio can be better because I'm emotion. I didn't expect that I was expecting
That's
that the
fine. That's
conference would
absolutely
start at
fine.
4.
We've
Okay,
seen
so
you. Thank you.
okay,
Thank you.
all right. Thank you very much. Okay,
All
so
right.
it's a very interesting conversation. Just like everybody has said, it can be emotive and it can also be exploited. The Lagos State Ministry of Health, just with the realization that there are a lot of charlatans in that field, in 2019 drafted the regulation for assisted reproductive therapy, and he paid a little bit of attention to surrogacy, but not that much. With that realization, the leadership also drafted a law, like a bill, that it has passed the 3rd reading at the House of Assembly currently, and it's basically on surrogacy. And what do we do in a farmer? Because I'm going to be talking in the perspective of a regulator. We have adopted a proactive model for the regulation of fertility care. Of course, you cannot take out surrogacy from assisted reproduction. And so we set standards. We do inspections. We carry out inspections. We carry out monitoring of health facilities for basic licensure. We also carry out public sensitization, and we're currently trying to support legal frameworks. For example, the one I spoke about, the bill that is already at the House of Assembly. And we're working in close partnership with the Association for Reproductive and Fertility Health. I think it's AFRH. I'm very sorry if I didn't get it to the AFRH, because I know that there are a lot of
It is the
AFRH.
AFRH. It is the
Yes.
AFRH.
Okay, yes. So we're working with AFRH to regulate that space. We are the chairman of, we have a committee, the ART committee for the regulation. The chairman of the committee is the Professor Emeritus, Professor Giwa Osagi. And we also have someone who is not even in Lagos State, who is a part of that committee, so that we're able to look at everything that is happening in the national space, and we're able to bring it into the space and help us to regulate properly. It's a pity, and I felt moved by the account of the account that the surrogates gave. But just as Dr. Ajayi has said, in looking at that space, you have to look at you have to look at not only what the surrogate. You are not going to look at it in the perspective only of the surrogate. You are going to look at it in the perspective of the health facility, because a lot goes into surrogacy, artificial reproduction, and everything. And then you are going to also look at the child. But I would also say to the surrogates that if you are still interested in moving whatever you think has been done to you and has been done to you, and you are not satisfied with it, please, can you drop a mail for us at efarmermail@gmail.com or efarmer@lagosstate.gov.ng. And I promise you that we will look into it and we'll try to get justice for you.
Thank you very much, ma.
So,
I
just think that
you. I
in
don't
a
think it was in
nutshell,
Lagos anyway, but thank you so very
okay.
much for that.
If it was in
Yes,
Lagos, so if it was in Lagos, well, if she can, drop a message or something for us, I promise that we'll go through all the necessary investigations and see that she gets justice. Even if we need to bring in enforcement, either through the Ministry of Justice or with the police. Thank you very much. I don't know if you have questions for me.
I really don't at this point. I'm trying to get throughout the room, but thank you very much for sharing that. Unfortunately, other states, I don't know that other states have a HEFAMA to go to, and this is the reason why the commission that is being proposed is important. But I'm also hopeful that, you know, the legislators are also understanding sort of the framework, because surrogacy is not something that is, as we say in law, on the exclusive list. So we need to also, there are different levels to this, the grassroots level, the place where states have to play a key role, and so on. And so thank you very much, Dr. Ido, for sharing that, for those important insights. If we had a strong regulatory agency like yourselves that is across the country, that somebody can just write to and know that they're going to have support, that's something that is important. That's something that would really be helpful to everybody. Okay, I think I'm going to stop there for a second, and then I will move now to Mrs. Hadiza. Mrs. Hadiza, are you here? Okay, can we have her profile up, please? Awesome. All right. Thank you for coming. I had a really interesting time talking with you. And what I really got from our conversation was your enthusiasm, your infectious enthusiasm to not keep your experience to yourself, but to use your experience to more or less change things, change the policy landscape for everyone. So I'm just going to read your profile, but I was really excited to talk to you and to hear your heart for this issue. When your husband was speaking, everybody was talking, but I'm sure they're going to be blown away by it. But let's go on. Mrs. Hadiza Alao Akala is a British Nigerian entrepreneur. Please, 1 second. My apologies, it was echoing. It's still echoing. I'm not sure why. Okay. Can you mute yourself, Mrs. Akala, please? If you're unmuted. Awesome. Okay. Thank you. I think that's why. Okay, let me read your profile. Hadizat Alawa Kala is a British Nigerian entrepreneur, influencer, and philanthropist with a strong voice in the advocacy for gender equality and reproductive health rights. A mother of twins born through surrogacy after her own battle with infertility, Hadiza uses her personal journey to break the silence, challenge stigmas, and empower individuals and couples navigating similar paths. A vocal supporter of the Nigerian Surrogacy Bill, she is committed to advancing legislation that protects the rights of all parties involved while aligning with international best practices. Her work focuses on fostering informed dialogue, pushing for ethical and sustainable frameworks, and ensuring access to safe, transparent, and fair surrogacy options in Nigeria. With her cross-cultural perspective and influential platform, Hadiza continues to drive awareness, spark change, and champion reproductive justice across borders. Please welcome with me, Mrs. Hadiza Alao Akala. Thank you so much for joining us. Please go ahead and unmute. Mrs. Akala, can you unmute and maybe also turn on your video? Oh,
sorry.
No, I shouldn't have. Okay, great.
This meeting is being recorded. Hello?
Hi, we can hear you.
Okay.
We can hear
Sorry
you now.
about
Okay.
this. Yes. So after my profile, sorry, have you read my profile?
Are you still having challenges or muting? Can you speak?
I'm online. I'm online. I can speak.
Are you still having challenges or muting? Can you speak?
I'm online. I can hear you.
Okay, awesome. So thank you very much. I'm sure you've listened to all the conversations before now. I wondered if you could share your experience. I'm sure you've shared it in other forums, but some of us are new to this, new to you. I wonder if you could share your experience with going through this process and maybe some of what you learned from going through this process. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to speak in this forum. So yeah, my experience, as my husband mentioned earlier, was for 8 years. We battled trying to conceive, and the battle of surrogacy was its own battle, alongside IVF. And it had its own, it comes with its own stigma and its own taboo topics. And as a woman, to be able to do naturally, quote and unquote, brings its own stigma that sometimes you put on yourself, and it's not even something other people put on you. You know, with your own sort of mindset, it takes you to different places. So with that, my experience then, you know, going through this, I had to go through I had to go through the different issues that it came with. So not only just having the external looking for a surrogate, and how do you even go about that? Where do you start from? You know, I also had to go through the legal aspect of it all, and I'm not a lawyer. I don't spend my day to day understanding the law or in any way. But here I was having to find out, you know, it wasn't just, oh, I want a surrogate, I get a surrogate and they give me a baby. The legal aspect of it all had to be considered, which I wasn't aware of. I didn't know, you know, where to even look or where to start. And honestly, the first time we even tried, you know, with our surrogacy journey, the first surrogate, it didn't end up working out. And, you know, it says I've left. Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay.
We can hear you
Okay.
perfectly.
I was sorry about that. So I was unable to you know, I later was actually happy that it didn't work out, because we then found out that you know, according to the UK law, if your surrogate is married, it kind of gives other complications legally when it comes to getting you know, the passport for the child in the UK, for example. So surrogacy brought up other issues that I was unaware of, and that was added pressure and added anxiety and added, you know, it was just really, you know, if it's emotional enough that you have to go through this, the other aspects kind of, you know, wear you out as well. So through that, then finding out that there was actually no cover for either myself or even a surrogate really puts you in a vulnerable state, because this is, you know, already when you're in a society where surrogacy or, you know, pregnancy is very, you know, it's private and it's very touchy. You know, most of the times people don't even want to announce that they're pregnant, yet alone you're giving a whole stranger that you might not know or you don't know the opportunity to, you know, carry your child. You can imagine what that's like. So I just found myself, or we found ourselves in a torment of, you know, what do we actually do? What is the right thing here? You know, you might even find yourself asking questions that might feel unethical, like, oh, you know, I would like her to stay in one place. She should move from her. You know, there are so many things that you think, but actually that's not right. You know, you can't just drag someone and let them leave where they are and, you know, their community, etc. So the bill, and having a bill that can, you know, kind of help with those guidelines, and you know, was basically something that I then became very passionate about. And you know, I then just found it easier for myself to follow through with the UK law, and kind of use that as a guideline. But wouldn't it be better if, as a country, we can have something that supports us and we can, you know, make us less vulnerable, especially as now I've found that a lot of people are coming from America, coming from the UK. I know a few people that, you know, that are coming in to, you know, source surrogates from Nigeria and do the whole experience, you know, here in Nigeria. So we need to be able to put some guidelines through so that it kind of helps emotionally. It supports people, not just it's emotionally, it supports them also legally, and kind of put people through, guide people, you know, it's not just free for all, etc. So I guess that's kind of what I would like to say on that.
Thank you very much for sharing that with us. I know this is, you know, that's like we were saying to the surrogate, very an emotional experience. And I didn't congratulate you, but congratulations on the twins. Congratulations to your husband. He talked about coming home and seeing the twins and how they're just about to turn 3. And I can't imagine how joyful and joyous that must be for the two of you. Thank you very much. And so from what you have just said, we have other jurisdictions that are looking at doing things in different ways and in interesting ways. And I think that's why we started by talking about the fact that this is not a new conversation for different jurisdictions around the world. And so it's interesting to me that given your background, what you then did was to go by way of looking at the UK law and in essence, sort of trying to guide yourself with that. And then afterwards, using that experience to then support your husband in, the development of this bill. So kudos to you. I think from what I heard you say as well, it seems to me that, and not just, let me start about the conversation that we had before today. My sense was that you were not just interested in the intending parent's perspective, but you are just intent on making sure that the process is fair across board. And that was what really excited me about you in coming to this. Having said that, it seemed to me also from what you just shared with me, or with all of us, you were able to meet the surrogates. Did you meet your surrogate?
No, we didn't actually meet our surrogate, but that was our personal choice.
Okay.
So, but we were allowed to meet them if we wanted to, and but we chose not to because of our status. And we also felt that for her it would be the best scenario.
Yes.
Although
Yeah.
now having heard from the lady that spoke before about the surrogate that spoke anonymously, that maybe she probably felt that it was quite cold or whatever, that might be quite cold. So yeah, these are things that might have to be put in place, or communication that needs to be had in this process. It should be the surrogate should be given the right information, and so should we, I think, for things like that, to just kind of let everybody be at ease during the process.
Okay. I think there are definitely pros and cons to it. Like you said, for example, in your own case, you're politically exposed, etc. And so, there are things to manage there, and so on. For me, I think it's not just so much as to whether we're meeting or not. I think it's also about, how can even the intending parents know that their surrogate is being cared for, is being well cared for. And that is something that I'm hoping that, any legislation that comes out of all of this can help us manage. I mean, legislation will implement itself, but if it does have the framework, the right framework, implementation is a bit easier. So I'm wondering, anyway, let me come back because I want to take the Honorable Minister last, and then we will look at some of the questions that we have. But thank you very much for sharing that with us. Thank you. Okay, can we please have the profile of the Honorable Minister? Let me really. I'm really appreciative. I'm really, really grateful that the Honorable Minister took this so seriously that she sent somebody to represent her. I know that she has other commitments today, and that even at short notice, they really wanted to participate in this. Of course, this is the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs, which is the ministry in charge of matters relating to women and children in this country. And, I was really excited to get the call this past week that they were going to put in a presence, because they thought this was a very, very important conversation, and they needed to chip in. When the legislators have done their work, on the executive side, there must be people who will carry on. As we can see, even from the panelists that we have convened for this, there are multiple stakeholders, and I'm hoping that also that, you know, what we are doing is in sort of bringing those stakeholders together so that they know each other, and that we consider, even within, in terms of if we're creating a commission, as the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs, part of that commission, et cetera, et cetera. But really, really grateful for the Honorable Minister's presence here through her representative. Let me read the Honorable Minister's profile, and then I will let her representative speak. One second, please. Okay, Honorable Hajia Suleiman Ibrahim is the Honorable Minister of Federal Ministry of Women Affairs. She has previously held several key positions, including State Minister of Police Affairs, the Director General of the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, and the Honorable Federal Commissioner of the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants, and Internally Displaced Persons. I was at a meeting where we unveiled the National Migration Policy a month or so ago, and you should hear the standing ovation that followed her, even though she had left the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants, and Internally Displaced Persons because of the work that she has done, that she did in that space. And we hope and continue to push for, we continue to see that energy at the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs. She earned a Bachelor's of Science degree in Sociology from the University of Abuja, and she has 2 master's degree, an MA in Management, and an MBA from Webster University in the United Kingdom. She will be represented today. Sorry. Can we please have the right person spotlighted, Faith? Do we have her here? Yeah?
I'm online. I've been here since.
Yes. Thank you so very much for being here, madam. Thank you. Thank you. I am sorry. I'm trying to get your name. 305. Give me 1 second. Okay. The Honorable Minister is represented this afternoon by Princess Dr. Joanne Jumai Idonije. I hope I'm right, ma. Hello?
Yes.
Hello?
You're right.
I'm right. So thank you very much, Princess Dr. Joanne Idonije. Thank you so very much. She's Special Advisor Technical to the Honorable Minister, and she'll be speaking on behalf of the Minister. We, like I've been saying to everybody else, we have some of the best panelists here. I was able to talk to you, and I was excited at the interest from the ministry on this matter. So for having listened, I wanted you to listen to the entire conversation and to bring you up last. I am wondering from the conversations that you have heard, how you believe the ministry, what you believe in ministry's role in this in the regulation of surrogacy in this country should be, bearing in mind that we're still at the point where we are working out what our law will be.
Thank you, Professor Unemegukwe.
Yeah,
My name
Cheluchi is fine, ma. Thank you
is
so much, ma. You can show your camera, your video if you're comfortable. Otherwise, we'll carry on.
yeah, please, I'm in motion, sir. I'm unable to
Okay.
turn on.
Thank you,
So
ma.
I bring you warm greetings from the Honorable Minister of Women Affairs, Honorable Iman Suleiman Ibrahim, FSI. We would have loved to be with you this afternoon, but because the nation is in mourning, at this time she's in Daura with her other colleagues, and she sends her warmest greetings to this event. I have actually listened to all the conversations, but as we all know, all the those who have spoken before me are all professionals in their right, and they are, and those others have spoken from their own personal experiences, and we truly respect that. But as a Federal Ministry of Women Affairs, it is our honor to also join in this conversation on the future of surrogacy in Nigeria, arising legal issues in the surrogacy bills. Let me begin by commending CHEL for convening this platform and for their unwavering commitment to advancing the health, rights, and dignity of women and girls in Nigeria. I would also like to use this opportunity to specially commend the sponsors of the surrogacy bill currently before the National Assembly, particularly Honorable Alao Akala for his bold and progressive legislative leadership. It's such efforts that Nigerians can begin to address sensitive but vital issues with the clarity and compassion they deserve. We meet at a crucial point in our legislative journey. The surrogacy bill presents a long overdue opportunity to establish a national framework that provides legal certainty, ethical safeguards, and human rights protection in an area that has largely operated in a legal vacuum. Across the country, we have seen real life consequences as a Ministry of Women Affairs when surrogacy is left unregulated. We have seen stories of women coerced into surrogacy arrangements without consent or contracts, of intending parents losing custody battles, of children caught in legal limbo, and of rising incidents of exploitation and trafficking disguised as assisted reproduction. We just heard one of the victims sharing her experiences. These are not distant possibilities. They are lived experiences that call for urgent gender responsive legal action. And so for us at the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs, and in alignment with the renewed hope agenda of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, we're deeply committed to creating a Nigeria where every woman's body is respected, every child's future is protected, and every family's hope is upheld. Our broader mandate includes the protection of vulnerable populations, promotion of gender equality, strengthening of family systems, and advancing social justice and care architecture across the country. Regulating surrogacy is not merely a legal exercise, it is a moral responsibility. We must ensure that surrogates are not commodified, that intending parents are not victimized, and that all stakeholders operate within a transparent, ethical, and rights-based system. Our legislation must reflect the values of equity, dignity, and accountability. And therefore, as a ministry, we're actively strengthening institutional mechanisms that support reproductive health, women's economic empowerment, access to care services, and protection from abuse or exploitation. These priorities align fully with the renewed hope agenda that recognizes women and families as foundation to national development. I welcome this multi-stakeholder dialogue and commend CHEL once again for its foresight. And let me also say, this conversation today shapes tomorrow's policies anchored in our shared values, our constitutional obligations, and the lived realities of Nigerian women and families. We must ensure that our laws reflect not only medical science, but also empathy, ethics, and equity. Together, we can build a surrogacy framework that is not only legal, but just. Thank you once again for inviting us to be a part of this conversation, and we look forward to the recommendations and outcomes from this gathering. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Princess. Thank you very much, Ma, uh, for those eloquent, well-considered words from the Ministry of Women Affairs and from yourself and the minister. We're really grateful for your presence at this meeting. I'm hoping that, we're seeing the different angles this might take. So for example, I looked at the commission, the membership of a commission that might be, we may want to consider having the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs as part of it. Of course, the Federal Ministry of Health is really important and central, but also looking at other key stakeholders that should be part of it. I'm going to go straight now. I know that our time is fast spent. I'm going to ask the panelists to please allow us to take a picture because Honorable Okonkwo needs to be at another meeting. But before we do that, let me just get some last words from you, Honorable Okonkwo. Thank you so much for the time you have spent with us. I wondered if you had any last words. Let me already say that some of the things you said earlier, very key. We're looking forward to a merging of the bills. We're looking forward to a robust bill where the two of you in the House with such a powerful understanding of some of the issues here, bring together the relevant stakeholders so that we have robust legislation. The floor is yours, sir. We're not seeing pictures. Video technical crew, please help us. Honorable Okonkwo, are you here?
Yes, can you hear me?
Okay. Can we spotlight his video, please? I can't see it. Yes, we can hear you, sir. Please go right ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, I just want to commend Cheld for this putting together this webinar, inviting stakeholders, inviting those that have been affected, especially the story in which we heard from the surrogates, and then also that of the wife of Honorable Alawa Kala as well. I want to say that this is a fantastic platform in order not just to bring information to the people, but also to help us legislators to better carve out and make sure that all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted on our bills presented. Prospectively, we will hope to make sure that we merge and harmonize on the bill because like my colleague's bill is seeking to establish a commission, of which is important that if you had a commission, such institution like that can help drive, and that's its pinpoint mandate to make sure that it has everything to do with surrogacy, both making sure that all the legal frameworks and all the legal departments and legal practices are aligned with the laws in place, because it should be a responsibility for those that are intended parents and then also the surrogates to have legal backing along the way, because if you had that, it would prevent a lot of exploitation. If exploitation occurred, then you have something to turn towards to say, okay, how you can sort out for compensation and whatnot. And then also like I said, you have a platform whereby people as well can now say, look, we are not just going for altruistic surrogacy, but they are going beyond the realm of what is legal and what is rightfully allowed. So it's important for us to have this harmonization so all parties involved can, be attended to, and all parties involved, can make sure that they have an input towards this. And I also want to use this opportunity to thank the Honorable Minister of Women Affairs, ably represented, for her interest in this aspect, because of course, this is something right up that alley, and it's highly, highly important, for our women to be well protected. So, like my bill, which, focuses on that protection and also needs to, be expanded upon, because I've been going through the chats, and I've also been, extracting a lot of the all of the submissions that were brought in from those that are part of this webinar. But in conclusion, I would just like to say that the commercialization of surrogacy, it presents a complex and ethical and social and legal challenges that cannot be ignored. And without this proper regulation, its risks of exploitation, inequity, commodification of the human life, and will only just grow and increase, especially within our climb. So if we have a well-structured legal framework, which is essential, to protect the rights of the surrogates, the surrogate mothers, the intended parents, and the children as well to be born, ensuring that that surrogacy remains ethical and also compassionate, rather than just a choice of rather than an regulated. Well, it becomes a choice rather than something that they're going into an unregulated space. I think it will be better for everybody. And by implementing these laws clearly, also enforcing transparency and making sure that enforcement is paramount, because a lot of situations within our climate is that we present laws, but the enforcement, to make sure that it's sought out through, it's something that we constantly, work on and see how we can better. But enforcement has to be paramount. So, but by doing that, we're able to prioritize, having more dignity over, things like profit, and also upholding our true spirit of the nation, I believe. So I thank you again, for this opportunity, and it's a real pleasure to be here. And thank you
you.
to everybody that
Thank you,
participated.
sir. Before I go into what I'm going to say to what you've just said, please, can we, those on the panel who are in the place where they can, on video, it's not just on mute, show their video so that we can take a quick photo before Honorable Okonkwo goes. But thank you very much. One thing you said struck me, which is that you have been looking at the chat, and that is what we wanted out of this. I'm sure you've seen some of the questions. We may not be able to get to all of them, but those things on the chat are some of the things we need to ask. Somebody has asked, for example, we need to regulate ART in general. There are other issues in IVF, etc. These are things that the area that we work in, that I teach, and so on. And there are so many other issues. Should we be singling out only surrogacy, etc.? So in essence, we're giving you and Honorable Alawakala even more to think about as you leave this place. So, but thank you very much for noting
Thank
that.
you so much.
Thank you very much. Okay, please, let's just take the photo, and then I'll come back just a few more minutes and we will be done. Thank you very much. Guys, let us know when you have taken the photo. You have. Oh, Dr. Doe, you're not in this photo. I'm not happy. Anyway, okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Honorable Local, we're going to come back to you, but we really thank you for your time with us, and your heart for
Thank
this
you.
issue is very evident. Thank you. Okay, please, let's
Thank
take
you.
one more.
Thank you,
Dr.
Matthew.
Ajayi, please come back. All right. Okay. Thank you. Honorable Kunko is gone. Okay, we'll make it work. All right. Have we got it? Awesome. So this is going to be on the front page of the report you're going to receive, because you're going to receive a report of the outcomes of this meeting, with the hope that it will support your the work that you're doing. And Achel, just to mention that before you take Honorable Hope, we're very happy to help support. Like I mentioned, we have been involved in the drafting of many bills, including the National Mental Health Act, etc. And we are here to support you. We have expertise in this area, and we're happy to share that with you. Okay, so I'm just going to take one or two questions from the chat, because those are very important. It's very important that we just respond a little bit. Unfortunately, we've had such a brilliant time that we've gone beyond what we thought we would go. Somebody has asked if we can have a copy of the Okonkwo bill. Ondiga, for sure, we will share that with you. Based on the proposed bill, how can the surrogate be legally protected from such issues as exploitation or fair treatment? So I was very happy when Honorable Okonkwo mentioned the fact that legal counsel is really important. And that is something that I believe is even in his own bill right now. So to expand on that and to make sure that both sides have legal representation. In fact, in the chat, I saw some lawyers saying, well, if we were the ones working with the surrogate, she would not have gone through that. And so we think that we don't want to legalize, make the process so litigious or whatever. But if we have clear, because there are people who have gone through this, the intended parents who are happy, surrogates who are happy. I've actually talked to one. Unfortunately, she wasn't willing to come on board, etc. So that can be achieved, and that's the whole point. It's not, we're not doing an either or situation here. Like I said, we're a natalist society. We've even done surrogacy in different forms traditionally over years, and unfortunately, this is not the time for me to discuss all that. But yeah, people have asked, can we see the bills? We're happy. We've shared Honorable Aloha Kala's bill. We will also share the other bills with those who registered for this. The only problem with this, of course, is that these bills are likely to change. They're going to change, etc. Now, some people have asked about commercial surrogacy. Can we actually throw away commercial surrogacy? Honorable Alakal, I want to take you there. Can we do away with commercial surrogacy, seeing that people who do this can benefit from, financial supports, let me put it that way, while we're trying to avoid exploitation and commodification. How do we also take into account our context? Because as some people have argued with me before, the problem is when you ban certain things, you drive them underground, and that is not the goal. So I'm wondering, Honorable Lakala, I don't know if you want to speak to this or you want to take it on advisement.
Thank you so much. My opinion still remains like I said, I'm a beneficiary of the commercial surrogacy, so I wouldn't totally say it should be scrapped. Like one, I saw in the comments also when one said that if you push it on the ground and it becomes like black market, they turn it to like a black market. They say they're doing it for free, but meanwhile they're putting money on the back. You don't know about it. So I believe if you can just come around the framework and try and make see how we can make it work for us. That's the commercial, so that we can say to make it work for us, because we just have to make it work in the best way, in the best interest, in our best interest.
Yeah.
So I'm not totally like saying we should scrap it out. Like I saw someone say also that if we adopted the Indian way of doing it, their own act, that it didn't work for them, how will it work for us? We can tweak it. One of the panelists was talking. He said something about bringing everybody in. I think after this, I think we should try and look for like a workshop, like try and get a workshop whereby we bring in professionals, bring in the two bills, try and harmonize it, have doctors come in, have lawyers come in, all the lacunas, all the necessary cross necessary T's, dot necessary I's, before we now finally push it for public hearing, because that will now give it enough flesh for our sense. Because I think we still, the bill is just at least there's awareness now. There's the awareness. So and the fact that there's awareness, people are interested, and people are speaking up. Like, say the speech from the honorable minister, from the representative of the honorable minister, was so touching to show that even the ministry is out front to support this. So I think we should just come together and try and harmonize this bill and ensure that it comes first. Yes, this might not be the total solution, but a step at a time. When we do the bill, we're able to now make further awareness and further orientation to the public on how things is done. So, like I said, I'm not in total disagreement with commercial surrogacy, but I think we'll just find a way to work. Because I'll definitely what should I say? I'll be, if I can say I'm against it because I benefited from it. So I can answer I'm against it, something I benefited from. So that makes me a bad person. So I'm not totally not in support of it. So, but you can work around it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So that's why we're having this conversation, so we can open up our minds, think of different perspectives and say, okay, maybe this is what will work best, etc., and contextualize it for our environment. So thank you very much. I'm just loving the openness of the legislators on this, and really super grateful for that. I think I'm trying to think of maybe one more question that I will throw to. The other thing that I thought I would mention quickly is what Dr. Idowu said earlier, which is that Lagos State has a bill. I don't know if there have been changes, but I know I've looked at that bill before. Also, something that we can also look at, and I'm hoping that others states, the other people in other states, other legislators, because I know there are other legislators from other states who are on this, can also pay attention to this and look at what they can do at their state level. So there is a question from a surrogacy agency. See, we were looking for a surrogacy agency to join us, but it's okay. Can we know why surrogacy agencies are not being involved as part of the parties involved in surrogacy? We believe that we went out of our way to look. We sent a lot of messages. Even I was happy when Honorable Akala mentioned the fact that he even reached out to a particular surrogacy agency, which we also reached out to, by the way, for this program, and they didn't get a response. But we have taken note of your name, and if you registered for this, we have your email, and we will definitely reach out. And if there are any other conversations, and I know there will be other conversations following this, hopefully you will be invited to that. So definitely surrogacy agencies should be part, because they are, when we talk about regulation, they're going to receive, quite a bit of this regulation, and I think it's really important for them. I think I'll take one more question. I don't know. Typically in our sessions, we always like people to speak, people that are not part of the panelists. So I don't know if there's anybody who has a burning question, a really important question. We've asked the question. So the Honorable, one of the questions that I want to raise with you is this question about, can the bill be expanded to regulate ART in general? Is that something that you would consider? And we're happy to provide, even at CHEL, we're happy to provide the reasons why such regulation might be important, maybe not at this meeting because of our time, but is that something you want to think about, or do you think that we should have the surrogacy bill alone and then ART separately? This is how that is actually how they have it in the UK, right? But others learned from the UK, like Canada, like I said.
When we come together, set up the workshop, those will be the decisions we will make in the workshop, understanding if we should merge it or separate it. And then we have the pros and cons, we're able to argue for and against in the meeting, why it should be that and why it should be like that. For example, now this meeting has just enlightened me onto that. So I will now still go back with my SLAs and those things and my legislative aids and go into it and understand if we should merge it or not. So even me, I don't really understand the fullness of it until you just said it now in the UK law. I'll still go to it and understanding that either it's possible we can merge it or leave it separately. Because what works for Tai might not work for Kendi. Because he works in the UK, the is going to work here. So, you know, we're both your unique systems. So you just find what to tailor it, what works for us specifically.
All right, sir. Very well said. So we will look forward to that workshop. We will follow up with you with that workshop, and we will let our people know. On this call, we've had about 300 people, and we had actually almost 500 registered. So we have all their emails, and we can get the right people. And the president of AFRH has been here. He's put in fact, I think he had a question. Sir, I think, can you unmute yourself? I'll let you speak. The president of AFRH, please. Prof? Prof, are you still with us or have you left? He may have left. Can we unmute him if he's raising his hand? Is he here? Is he still here? Okay, please unmute him so he can. I think he had a comment before. Let's just take him and then we'll close. That's a very important key stakeholder as well. And sir, can you unmute yourself? I'm not seeing that. Okay, we are closing in 4 minutes and we're going to take pictures. I can't see Prof here. I can't see his hands up. And unfortunately, there's so many comments now in the comment section. I cannot see the comment that he made, but we will find it and we will share it. Okay. All right. Just trying to see. Okay. I don't think I think every other question around, for example, stakeholders, I think the Honorable has answered that. We're going to have more stakeholders share their experience. We're also going to be sharing. He's unable to unmute. You guys unmute him now. The technical team, if you can unmute him, please unmute him. Otherwise, please, if you can share what he shared before, I can read it out, but I would have wanted to hear his voice.
I have been unmuted. Can you hear me now?
Oh, great, great. Okay, go ahead, sir. Go
Good
ahead.
afternoon,
please
everyone.
Introduce yourself. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Professor Priye Fiebai. I'm the president of Association for Fertility and Reproductive Health Nigeria. And I congratulate you on this very important webinar. We have over the years tried to liaise with the legislature to give guidance on how things we think should be done. And in our opinion, you cannot separate surrogacy from all other aspects of assisted reproductive technology because the whole act ends up after you've done ART. So we are very glad to provide technical information and expertise. And I believe that in the past, when we had a bill on ART in 2023, proposed at the Senate, we opposed it because the content was unsatisfactory. And we've worked very hard over the past 2 years to try and to fine-tune what was presented. I know that when Honorable Alawa Akala's bill was presented, we had communication with them, and we are still open to continuous dialogue and collaboration towards ensuring that we provide the necessary framework for a comprehensive bill. But at the end of the day, just like our experience with HEFARMA in Lagos, HEFARMA's regulations, there's no bill, but we have regulations for ART, covers all aspects of ART because you cannot divorce the practitioners or other stakeholders from surrogacy. And even the surrogates would eventually go through ART. And if you don't regulate the way the surrogacy is practiced by the ART practitioners, you are going to go back to square one. But as Honorable Alawa Akala said, we would be glad to participate in the workshop and we'll provide more technical expertise. I was also reaching out to Honorable Uche Okonkwo, and I think we've had some communication in some way. I hope that we will still meet and conclude final issues regarding this. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Good to hear from you. And we look forward to continuing this conversation. Somebody in the chat has asked, when is this webinar going to be over? We actually meant for the webinar to be 2 hours. It's 2.5 hours now, and we are going to stop right now. But before I stop, let me thank everybody who has shown up here. Let me start with the panelists. I don't know if the panelists can see the chat. It's been so alive and bubbling, and so many comments. We have the experts in the room. You've got the best people to speak on the subject. You have all kinds of complimentary remarks, and I wish it was Chell that was taking credit for it, but it is really the panelists who came, who stayed for 2.5 hours, started from the first minute. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. We had, as we know, because we sent questions ahead, we had 3-4 questions for you, but if we continue, people will probably lose interest. But I think that what we have done is we have started this conversation. Of course, the legislators have been having that conversation and doing their bit, but hopefully they have also now heard, not hopefully, because each of them mentioned that they looked at the chat, they took some things from the chat, and that was one of our goals. We also wanted people, everyday people, apart from fertility specialists like Professor Prey and others who are in that space. We wanted people who are who have some of these issues, and some of them reached out to us actually, to also hear from the legislators, and they did hear, and some of them are already looking at those bills, etc., and knowing that something is going on that they can make an input into. And just from hearing the legislators, this has not been a waste of time. Your input has been relevant, your input is being taken into consideration. So I want to thank you. I want to thank all the panelists. I want to thank the Honorable Minister. We're just grateful. We're just grateful, Princess, for your very eloquent representation of the Honorable Minister, and to know that this is an important subject for the ministry that really gladdens our hearts, because when we talk about protection of women and children, you are the forefront of that. We thank everyone. Dr. Do, thank you. Thank you. You're amazing. You know that already. Thank you so very much. Thank you to Dr. Ajayi, who, like I said, was the very first panelist to come, and who had, who has been awesome, said yes from the first minute, and has shown up and given of his time and expertise, and brought out how it's really important that we're engaging with a diverse set of stakeholders. Thank you very much. Who am I missing? Thank you, Mrs. Alawa Kala. Oh my gosh, thank you. We're grateful for your experience. It is your experience that is one of the major reasons we're having this conversation. Thank you for not just going through that process, having your children and stopping there, but continuing to push so that others can benefit from what you went through. God bless you. And finally, thank you. And finally, to the surrogates, I can't mention your name, but there are people here. I hope you saw the chat, but there are people here whose minds have just been really opened to the issues here. And I thank you for sharing that emotional experience with us. It may not be the experience of every surrogate, but the fact that it is even the experience of one surrogate means that we have to do something. And your experience sharing this afternoon has been a blessing, and I know that it will impact the outcome of these bills. So thank you very much. I thank all my friends who are in the chat and who have been hailing me. Thank you. And finally, thank you to Cheld, to the Cheld team. I'm the face of the Cheld team. There's Faith Babajamu, there's Queen Ukbo, there's Gosio Bimwa, and all the people in the technical room and the communications team who have been communicating with the panelists, who have been doing all sorts of work to get all of us here and to keep all of us here and listening. I'm really grateful for your support. We look forward to continuing this conversation, and we know that when these bills become legislation, we will remember that we participated in it. So thank you to the legislators again. I'm really, really grateful, Honorable Okonkwo, Honorable Alawakala, just your openness to this process and spending your time with us. I say we're not experts, but we're interested in listening. If that's the only thing we took out of this, that is enough. Thank you so very much. Okay, can we please take a quick photo if we can? Everybody, if you can turn on your camera where you are so we can take a quick photo. Thank you so very much, everyone in the chat. Thank you to everybody who came. We had more than almost 500 registered. We had more than 300 come in, and we're grateful for your time today. Please, let's take the photo so we can leave. Thank you, everyone. We will share the outcomes. We always share all this stuff we'll share with the panelists, and then we'll share with the General House. We'll put together a brief with the main outcomes and all that we agreed upon. That will be shared. Please expect that it will be shared in your emails. It will be shared in your emails, and it will be shared on our social media platforms. Please follow us. We're on all the social media platforms, from LinkedIn to Facebook to Twitter to Instagram. Please follow us for more information on any of this. I'm sure we will be hearing from the legislators, so please, open our emails when you see them. All right. Thank you. And everything you have in the chat, we're copying, where some people have sent us their emails and stuff. We have your email already because you registered for this workshop. Please expect to hear from us. Is our cameras on so we can take one last picture with everybody now, not just the panelists, everybody? Gozie, please let me know when we've taken that picture. I've been smiling. Take one more. I'm smiling now. Take it too. Thank you. Thank you so much. Professor Priya, we're going to be in touch. We'll be in touch with you.
Thank you.
Yes,
I look
sir.
forward to hearing
Thank
from
you,
you.
and thank you for coming through. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Doe. Thank you. Thank you, Vixis. Thank you. Thank you to everybody, those who came from Portugal, from Ethiopia, from Togo. It's very interesting. Thank you so much. But this is an important matter. Thank you from the UK, from all over Nigeria. We're grateful. Cameras are not working. Can we please turn on the cameras? Please, communications team. People have been smiling since, so camera, turn on camera, please. Faith. Once we've done it, it's a webinar. Oh, so we're not able to. Oh, my apologies. That's why we always do the other one. But okay, fine. All right. Thank you. Have a great evening. God bless you. Okay, some people said they didn't register. Please, let's make sure we take down their emails so that they can be on the mailing list. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Honorable Okonkwo. So grateful.